Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're tackling something really central for anyone navigating these markets, the mental game of trading.
Yeah, definitely. We've been digging into Jared Tendler's book, The Mental Game of Trading.
Right, and it presents this system for dealing with all those things that trip us up. Greed, fear, anger, what traders call tilt confidence issues, discipline problems.
Exactly. And our mission here really is to unpack that, to get under the hood of his system, figure out why these issues keep cropping up for traders.
And look at the actual strategies he suggests.
Yeah, the practical stuff. We want to pull out the key insights so you can get a clear handle on these mental challenges and hopefully a roadmap for tackling them.
Okay, so let's start with maybe the biggest idea, because it kind of goes against the grain, doesn't it? This whole idea that emotions are the enemy.
Totally. So many traders think they need to suppress emotions, fight them off,
Uh-huh.
but Tendler argues that's why most fixes are just, temporary, like putting tape over the check engine light.
Right, it hides the signal, but doesn't fix what's wrong underneath.
Precisely. His point is, emotions aren't the problem. They're signals. They're clues, like a symptom pointing to a deeper issue.
Ah, okay. So instead of battling the emotion, you need to investigate what it's telling you.
Exactly. And that's the foundation for his system, which he lays out as being, accessible, logical, practical, repeatable.
So what are the main steps?
It's basically three stages. First is recognizing your pattern. He calls it mapping.
Mapping, okay.
Yeah, it's like becoming a detective of your own behavior, learning to spot your emotional reactions at a micro level.
So catching it before it spirals.
Right. Seeing the escalation. It's a skill, he says, like spotting chart patterns. You gather clues, thoughts, feelings, physical sensations, what you did or didn't do.
And he stresses writing things down here, doesn't he?
Oh, absolutely.
Cool.
Crucial for seeing the pattern clearly. Then step two is identifying the roots.
Okay, digging deeper.
Yeah, this is where you find the real cause underneath the emotion. Is it a hidden flaw in your thinking? A bias? Maybe an illusion you hold? Or some kind of error in how you learned something?
So the emotion's the smoke, the root is the fire.
You got it. The emotion is never the fundamental problem itself. And step three is correcting your problem.
Which means addressing that root cause you found.
Exactly. Applying consistent corrections to tackle that underlying flaw head on.
And he has a specific tool for finding those roots, right? The mental hand history.
Yeah, that's a brilliant tool. It's a structured five-step process. Let's walk through his example. A trader struggling to take big losses.
Okay, so step one, just describe it. I can't accept big losses. Simple enough.
Step two is key. Explain why it makes sense to you. The trader might think, my strategy is profitable if I follow it, so big losses just shouldn't happen. That's their internal logic, even if flawed.
Right, which leads perfectly to step three. Why is that logic flawed?
The flaw is assuming a good strategy means zero big losses. Variance is real. Even great strategies have losing streaks, sometimes big ones.
So step four is the correction for that flawed logic. Not just stop being upset, but a new thought process.
Right. Like, I must learn to take a loss. It's part of the business. A well-executed loss is just a cost. You have to embrace that feeling.
And step five, why is the correction correct? Reinforce the new logic.
Yeah, because profitable strategies do have losses. The real issue isn't the loss itself, but letting it snowball, emotionally or financially. See how the emotion guided you to the flaw.
That makes a lot of sense. It reframes the whole thing.
And another big source of these roots he talks about are learning errors.
Learning errors. Like what?
Think about the jump from sim trading to live trading. A trader might think, I'm making the same trades, it should be no different.
But it feels totally different when real money's on the line.
Exactly. The logic seems sound, same trade, same system. But the flaw is ignoring the huge psychological shift. Results suddenly matter differently. Your ego's involved, fear kicks in. That gap is a learning error.
Okay. This seems related to his A game, B game, C game idea.
It is. Think of your performance on a scale. A game is your peak, maybe only minor learning mistakes. B game is decent, but some slips, kind of mixed technical and mental stuff.
And C game is disaster zone.
Pretty much, yeah. Obvious mistakes, usually driven by strong emotions, being tired, just not mentally there.
And Tendler says the key to getting better consistently is focusing on fixing the C game.
Absolutely. He says basically your job is to suck less. Don't aim for perfection every day. Aim to eliminate those really damaging, avoidable C-game blow-ups.
That narrows the gap between your best and worst days, creates stability.
Right. It's the low-hanging fruit. Stop the big C-game errors and your equity curve starts looking a lot smoother.
Okay, so we have the system. Map the pattern, find the root, correct the flaw. And we have this ABC game framework. Let's apply this to specific problems. Greed, for instance.
Right. Tendler argues greed isn't usually a standalone flaw. It's often fueled by other things.
What does it look like, signs of greed?
Things like taking way bigger positions than you should, cutting corners on your process, feeling this intense pressure that you have to make money constantly, never feeling satisfied.
And mapping it would involve noticing how your thinking changes.
Yeah, like suddenly all you see is the P&L, or you start jumping between time frames randomly or micromanaging every tick.
And the root cause isn't just, I want more money.
Often not. His case studies show that. One guy, Roderick, thought he was greedy. Turns out it was anger. He hated being imperfect, hated taking even small, necessary losses.
Wow.
Another one, Max. His greed is driven by shaky confidence and this need to prove himself fast. So it ties back to deeper stuff like needing perfection or having low self-worth.
Okay, let's shift to fear. Huge topic.
Massive. And Tendler says the antidote to fear is certainty. But the problem is seeking certainty, where it, fundamentally doesn't exist, especially short-term in markets.
Yeah, tell me about it. The signs are familiar, right? Overthinking everything, analyzing into paralysis.
Second-guessing decisions constantly.
Yeah.
Not trusting your gut, because you can't perfectly articulate why you feel something.
And FOMO, fear of missing out.
Classic fear, that desperate urge to jump in, often comes from a hidden belief that opportunities are scarce. If you miss this one, you're done for, and the fear builds up subtly.
Then there's fear of losing, which can be about more than just money.
Oh yeah. Past losses create scar tissue. Sometimes traders link their P&L directly to their self-worth. And there's prospect theory losses just hurt more than equivalent gains feel good. It's a real bias.
What about fear of mistakes?
That's often tied to perfectionism. Treating every tiny error like a catastrophe leads to hesitation, more overthinking.
And if you beat yourself up relentlessly after mistakes.
That can lead to what Tendler calls beaten dog syndrome. You become paralyzed by the fear of making another mistake, just to avoid the intense self-criticism that follows. It's brutal.
And fear of failure linking your identity to outcomes? That sounds crippling.
It really is. Can even lead to choking under pressure. But it's also crucial to remember. Sometimes fear is signaling a genuine problem with your strategy or execution.
A weak process.
Yeah, exactly. If your plan has holes, or you haven't defined your edge clearly, that uncertainty naturally breeds fear. The fear is telling you something tactical needs fixing. Like in Vishal's case, his need to be right hid the fact his plan wasn't robust enough.
Man, fear has so many different faces and roots. Okay, what about tilt?
Anger. Yeah, traders' term for anger boiling over.
Yeah.
Tendler makes a key point. Tilt isn't the first spark of anger or frustration. It's the accumulated anger that clouds judgment.
Getting angry about being angry.
That's tilt of tilt, yeah. And the biggest danger, tilt makes you blind to risk. You feel wronged, maybe self-righteous, convinced the market owes you, or you're definitely right this time. That blinds you to the downside. You only see it after the damage is done.
So mapping tilt helps you catch it earlier.
For sure. Noticing the physical signs, tight grip, faster breathing, the thoughts fixating on past losses, blaming, the behaviors chasing losses, forcing trades, how your perception warps, seeing patterns that aren't there.
And there are different types of tilt, different roots.
Definitely. Hating to lose is a big one. Driven by unrealistic expectations like needing to win every single day, or that prospect theory pain again.
Mistake tilt, hating being wrong.
Yeah, feeling stupid because you caused the loss.
Yeah.
Ties back to perfectionism. Hindsight bias, I knew it. Attachment to being right.
Injustice tilt, feeling the market's unfair, cursed, or unlucky.
Right. Getting envious of others' apparent luck. It's just a distraction, really.
Revenge trading. Classic. Gotta make that loss back now.
Yep. Rooted in that urgent need to erase the pain of the loss immediately.
And entitlement tilt. Believing you deserve to win because you're smart or worked hard.
Which leads to anger when the market doesn't cooperate on your schedule. Roderick's greed was actually anger. Joe learned to detach from daily P&L using that 100-box method, focusing on process execution over many trades, not just one outcome.
Let's move to confidence. It's so volatile, isn't it? Unlike skill.
Exactly. Tendler calls it fluid. It shifts easily based on emotions, beliefs. Confidence problems often signal flawed beliefs about your skill or illusions about how markets work.
And sometimes a dip in confidence is actually useful.
Yeah, it can be a signal that something in your tactical approach is genuinely wrong. Your gut might be telling you your edge isn't there right now.
So both extremes are bad. Overconfidence.
Signs like feeling invincible, euphoric, totally certain without real analysis. refusing to admit mistakes, taking random trades just because. Mapping helps spot this danger zone,
And lack of confidence.
just not feeling it, avoiding good setups, feeling unsure, hesitant.
What are the underlying roots messing with confidence?
Illusion of control is huge. Believing you dictate short-term results, ignoring randomness.
Predicting outcomes. Thinking your forecasts are facts.
Yeah, fuels overconfidence when you're right, crushes it when you're wrong. Imagine success getting high on fantasies of future wins, makes real losses feel like theft.
The need for validation. Tying your P&L to your self-worth.
Big one. Needing to prove yourself, comparing yourself to others, leads to confirmation bias, stubbornly sticking to ideas because being wrong hurts your ego. Like that trader needing huge arm multiple wins as proof.
Perfectionism, high expectations. Setting impossible standards.
Creates this constant internal debt, feeling like you're never good enough, can cause either lack of confidence or overcompensating arrogance. Correcting it means changing how you evaluate, like using AC game analysis, acknowledging actual skills you have.
And what happens when multiple flaws pile up?
That can lead to desperation, a really deep confidence hole, usually with intense urgency, feeling like time's running out.
How do you tackle that?
It needs a broad approach. Lower short-term expectations, aim for tiny wins, use timers for breaks, focus on just showing up consistently, find ways to release emotion like writing, adopt a longer view, months, not days, and really solidify your routines.
The case studies cover a lot here. Alex's weak process showing up as confidence issues, Brender's inability to be wrong, Gurdeet's desperation, Max improving confidence alongside greed, Will's journey using the system to heal from deeper trauma fueling desperation.
Powerful examples,
Yeah.
which leads us nicely into discipline.
Another big one. Is it something you just have or don't?
Tendler says no. Everyone has some discipline. When you feel you lack it, it's often because your willpower, which is finite, is drained.
And the signs are pretty obvious.
Yeah. Not following your stops, skipping breaks or reviews, not logging trades, forcing things, trading outside your plan, just clicking buttons aimlessly.
How do you build it?
Like a muscle.
Yeah.
Start small with realistic goals you can actually hit consistently. Build from there. Self-criticism just makes it harder. Inspiration helps, but it's like a temporary boost, not the foundation.
And you need to know what good discipline looks like for you.
Absolutely. Write it down. What does your optimal discipline trading day involve? Then you can spot the early signs when you start deviating. Mapping helps track this too.
But critically, discipline problems often aren't just about willpower, are they?
Exactly. Often they're symptoms of those deeper emotional roots, like impatience. It's usually not just needing to be patient. It's driven by fear or needing certainty or needing control. Fix the root, the impatience fades.
Boredom.
Can signal fear, maybe linking boredom to not hitting goals fast enough. Or it can even be a sign of overconfidence, feeling like the market isn't challenging enough.
Focusing on results instead of the process.
Huge discipline killer. Takes your eye off how you make money. Need to shift to process-oriented goals, things you control now while keeping outcome goals long-term. Think JFK's moonshot. It wasn't just go to the moon. It was countless controllable process steps.
Poor focused distraction, not just laziness.
Rarely. Usually a conflict. A desire for something easier, more entertaining. Need to address why you want the distraction. Brian's case study showed breaks helped manage distraction rooted in avoiding difficult emotions.
And procrastination. Putting off the hard stuff.
Yeah, delaying analysis, review, planning. Because it feels easier than facing difficulty, fear, or confronting a flawed belief. The fix is often just small, consistent effort, 5–10 minutes a day on that task you're avoiding.
So, bottom line for discipline. Fix the underlying emotions first.
Pretty much. It clears the path for discipline to actually stick. Which brings us to the correction phase and making progress last.
Right, because the real fix is tackling the roots, not just managing the flare-ups.
Exactly. Permanent change comes from resolving those underlying flaws. The ultimate aim is the real-time strategy.
Meaning correcting yourself in the moment.
Yeah, recognizing the trigger as it happens and deploying your correction right then and there. It takes practice, lots of reps, but each time you do it, you're strengthening that new pathway.
And a key technique is injecting logic.
Right. Using those pre-planned, bite-sized statements of truth, you train them like mental mantras. For FOMO, market's always got opportunities. I don't need this one. For hating to lose, winning and losing are part of it. Losses are expected. You drill these until they cut through the noise.
And routines are key for support.
Essential. Warm-ups, your pre-market routine. Review your maps, your corrections. Prep your mind. Tendler warns about complacency. After good periods, you still need the warm-up.
And cooldowns post-market.
Crucial. Within 30 minutes or so of finishing, review the day, mental and tactical. Analyze mistakes, successes, vent emotions. Writing is great for this. Reinforce corrections. It prevents that emotional baggage from building up day after day.
So it's really a cycle, rinse and repeat.
Totally. Resolution isn't instant. It takes time, repetition, applying it across different market conditions, different personal states. It's a process.
And there will be bumps in the road, like feeling worse initially.
Super common. Increased awareness makes the emotions feel more intense at first, but that's actually a sign you're making progress, not going backwards. You're seeing it clearly now.
Overwhelm. Too much information.
Yeah, bloated brain. Tendler suggests a simple writing trick. Dump everything out, draw a line under it, reset your focus, and maybe just pick one or two low-hanging fruit issues to start with. Get some easy wins. Burnout.
A big risk.
Huge in trading. Need to spot early signs, discipline slipping, motivation gone. Prevention is key. Prioritize that self-care outside trading. Diet, exercise, sleep, social life, hobbies. That trader tracking break-even days as a warning sign. Smart.
And sometimes the root is really deep, like trauma.
Yeah. That might need addressing, potentially with professional help, before real trading progress can happen. Will's story highlights that.
So what does resolution look like? It's not a finish line.
No, more like a state you maintain. You feel competent under pressure, your mind is clearer, you trust your intuition more appropriately, you avoid the big C-game errors, you adapt, you stay focused. It's an ongoing capability.
Having that foundation to weather the storms.
Exactly. So the big takeaway from Tendler's work is really empowering, isn't it? The stuff can be solved systematically, but you have to put in the effort, map the patterns, find the roots, apply the corrections daily.
And accept that progress won't be linear.
Embrace that reality.
So wrapping up this deep dive, mastering the mental game isn't about killing your emotions. It's about learning to listen to them as signals.
Signals guiding you to the real issues, the flawed beliefs, biases, learning errors underneath.
And developing the skill to systematically address those roots, that's something you can learn and improve.
Absolutely. And maybe a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on. Think about your last week of trading. Which one of those underlying flaws really resonated? Expectation of perfection, needing certainty, hating variance, needing validation, illusion of control, believing you can predict things.
Yeah, which one might have been subtly pulling the strings on your decisions, even when you thought you're being logical?
What clue was that emotion trying to give you that maybe got missed in the heat of the moment?
Definitely something to reflect on. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Keep exploring these ideas. They really are fundamental to finding more consistency.